Hey guys, Grazer, the Autistic Gamer, and welcome back to Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. Last time we left off, we finally got round to rescuing Harry and B'Elanna, and not a moment too soon, as the Caretaker decided to seal the entrance tunnels to the underground city of the Okampa. In preparation for an inevitable battle with the Kazon, we also had a bit of a sparring match with Chakotay's ship and his crew. Now, speaking of that inevitable battle, we got a couple of things that I want to get done first before we progress to that. So let's get those out of the way. So first off, we're going to change this cargo bay so we can hold some more duranium. Then we're in fact going to build another cargo bay next to it, our third of the playthrough already. Next up, we're going to skip forward a couple of cycles, and we're not only going to clear out our ruined room, but our hull reinforcement research is now done. So we're going straight into our science laboratory, and we're going to kick off the research for the hydroponics bay. That's going to provide us the food, and we're going to need that to get self-sufficient as soon as possible. Next on the to-do list is grab some more duranium, and then quickly swing over to this debris field and pick up our deuterium. And that brings us to our cargo bay having now been completed. And now to do something that is going to actually make building that cargo bay completely pointless, or certainly close to it. I think, as I said in one of the earlier episodes, energy management and conservation and resource management and conservation is absolutely key to a successful playthrough. So we are now in fact going to power everything down. Cargo bays, even though we've just built one. Emergency quarters, even though the crew need them. Our offensive and defensive capabilities, even though again we've only just built them. Along with pretty much anything else that we don't need. Engineering rooms, to get our power levels down to a point where we can now use grey mode, so when we do travel to the next system, we are going to be using significantly less deuterium. And by less, I mean we have gone from 41 deuterium down to 17, which means we have saved 24 deuterium per cycle. And given that the system we need to go to is 5 cycles away, we have actually saved 120 deuterium. So it's making a massive difference, and that could be the difference between a successful playthrough and one that ends in mutiny and us being stranded in a shuttlecraft somewhere. But until then, let us top up our deuterium reserves from this lost starship using the only option that it is giving us. Now let's increase the warp core output so we can power everything back on. But the main things we need are our phasers and our shields, because I doubt we're going to be alone at the array, and it's unlikely that they're going to be friendly. Captain, we reached our destination. Orders? It seems we were expected, Captain. It's the Kazon. The lead ship is hailing us. They're probably not calling to chat. I'll have our marquee raider manned. You'll have support if this turns into a fight, Captain. Excellent idea. But let's see what the Kazon have to say first. Back for more, are you? Don't think your silk tongue will work this time. All we care about is getting home, Jamin. We will beam over to the array and see if we can arrange that. Oh, I'm sure you have another fancy speech prepared for the entity, but I won't allow it. We have no dispute with you. Of course not. You'd rather talk your way into getting what you want. This is absurd. We have no intention of challenging you.
I'm not as gullible as you think. The array's power is mine.
Jamin, can we discuss this like two civilized? He's disconnected, Captain, and they're powering up their weapons. Battle stations.
And as Harry has just pointed out, we were definitely expected. We are now facing a 3-on-2 battle as we have the Maki Raider in support, and we have Harry, Kim, Tuvok, and Balana on heroic duties. Battle stations, everybody.
What are your orders, Captain?
So it turns out I did learn a little something from our test engagement with Chakotay's ship, as we are going to first off target the weapon systems on this rather large Kazon carrier.
Okay, quick couple of bits of tutorial. First off, it's the command menu. As you can see, it's just telling us that we can actually open our command menu at any point in combat to give new orders, and while the command menu is open, combat is paused, which is actually quite handy to take advantage of if we do need to think, but think. And it's telling us we need to do that because we need to learn about defensive movements, as one of our shields is dangerously low. We can switch to defensive actions and protect that side from further damage, as it says continuing without shields risks destruction of underlying systems, which we obviously don't want.
But as well as defending our port side, we can use Balana's hero ability, which instantly recharges our shields, so that solves that problem, and we'll also activate Harry's ability to add some shield penetration to our phaser fire. Also going to switch targets to this support vessel now that we've come to the side of the carrier, and we're going to unleash Tuvok's double salvo.
Enemy is fled, Captain.
Yeah, support vessel's clearly had enough of that and has just abandoned his comrades. So let's carry on our assault on the carrier. Let's target the engines, see if we can't slow it down a little bit. Gonna speed the footage up just a little bit whilst I just continually spam hero abilities at every opportunity.
Okay, this one's a bit more of a reminder than it is an actual tutorial, but it's just saying that torpedoes have to be fired manually. They're powerful weapons, causing great damage to the systems and the hull, but their effect is minimal against shields, so we need to make sure we fire from the right angle, or at least ensure the shields are down before we use them.
Enemy is surrendered, Captain.
And the captain of the carrier has clearly had enough, as he has now surrendered to us, leaving his support vessel all alone in a 2v1 scenario. I don't see them lasting too much longer.
Ability ready, Captain.
And indeed it doesn't. About 4 phaser salvos later, we get the victory screen. Find out that our hull status though is now down to 54%, but we have successfully fended off at least this first Kazon attack.
And as a reward for our victory, we get a tutorial on combat allies. We can hire allied ships on the bridge to help us in combat. However, only one ally may help at a time. We can unlock allies by fulfilling hidden objectives, researching certain technologies, and once unlocked, they will be available for the rest of the game. However, their recruitment and upkeep will cost us resources, much like everything else in this game. So that's something else that we'll need to think about and manage. That went better than expected. Our raider is still in good shape. I'll keep it close by, just in case more Kazon decide to show up.
You are strong, Captain, but there is strength in numbers. I have called for reinforcements. This array will be mine.
And I guess we don't have much time. Hail the array. Well, aren't you persistent? We need you to send us back where we came from. Impossible. I've barely enough strength to complete my work. I must protect the Okampa. If I don't, the Kazon will steal their water.
they won't be able to survive.
Okay, 3 dialogue options, and obviously we're going to go with the optional ones first, starting with confronting him with the truth that all of this is his fault.
Something you did turn their planet into a desert, didn't it? That was the debt that could never be repaid.
We were explorers from another galaxy. We had no idea our technology would devastate their atmosphere. 2 of us were chosen to stay behind and care for them.
2? Where's the other?
She went off to look for more interesting places.
Okay, we'll go with the second optional choice as well, where we're going to try and convince him that he really should probably just let go of the Ocampa and let them learn how to fend for themselves.
Did you ever consider allowing the Ocampa to care for themselves?
They're children.
Children grow up. They need challenges. Maybe the Ocampa are stronger than you think.
And so now we come to what is the heart and the main point. He brought us here. He's the only one that can send us back.
You've dragged us into this. You need to send us... Captain, Jabin wasn't bluffing. His reinforcements have arrived.
I could try to access the array systems to transport us to the Alpha Quadrant, Captain. No! I'm fading. Time is up. If you leave, the array will be left to the Kazon. They will annihilate the Ocampa. You must destroy it.
Don't listen to him. We'll be stranded.
Please, protect the Ocampa.
The Caretaker fades away, collapsing into an inert crystalline form. Janeway is now faced with an impossible choice. Return home to the Alpha Quadrant, leaving the Ocampa defenseless, or sacrifice Voyager's return to ensure their safety. The clock is ticking. He's gone. Captain, the Kazon are closing in. Shall I try to access the primary control systems to send us back?
And this is one of the things that I love about this game. It legitimately gives you the option to, as it says, access the control systems and return home. Which actually makes sense because this essentially was the 2 options that Janeway had to choose between. Now, even if we select the primary control options, we still have to pass a additional skill check afterwards, and if you fail that, you end up staying in the Delta Quadrant and you end up with a pissed off Chakotay and possibly a few other crew members as well. So in light of that, and also because it would be a very short first playthrough if we did succeed at that, we are going to go with the decision that Janeway made, and we are in fact going to destroy the array and destroy our only way home.
We never asked to be involved, but we are. I won't trade the lives of the Ocampa for our convenience. Lieutenant Tuvok, ready to try Cobalt devices. What are you doing? The array's our only way out of here. You can't! I can and I will.
Try Cobalt devices ready, Captain.
This is it. No turning back now.
Fire.
We'll find another way home. I promise. Who do you think you are, making the decision for all of us?
It was the right decision, Valana. The Ocampa, they remind me of our people.
We were fighting a more powerful enemy to protect our own. The Okompa deserve that too. 70,000 light years. We're really stranded, aren't we? Great. Now I'll definitely miss my next parole review. A missed parole review should not be your primary concern at the moment, Mr. Paris. Thanks, Tuvok. Hadn't thought about that. Jabin is hailing us, Captain.
You have made an enemy today.
Mr. Paris, put some distance between us and this place. And at this point the game has decided to give us one more thing to think about, which is indeed the Voyager's hull. This can be damaged in combat, dialogue, spatial phenomena, or even if our navigational deflector goes offline. If the hull integrity reaches 0, Voyager will be destroyed, and that is game over. Hull unfortunately does not regenerate by itself. We have to repair it by assigning a work team in the engineering office, and as you can see, we have different types of damage that we can sustain, from astral fields to plasma storms to the navigational deflector being offline, and each one has their own little icon.
And before we put some distance between us and this place, let us go through our traditional power everything down until we can run in grey mode routine. And so we are just using enough deuterium to be able to run the replicators, add some work teams to repair the hull, and then we are going to head off to the next system, which is 8 circles away apparently, and it's called H96.2. which is, I guess, is what you call a system when you are in an unexplored area of the galaxy. And during our trip, our research for the hydroponics bay has completed, so let's get another one underway. After some deliberation, I decided to go with the small battery compartment, which stores surplus energy from the warp core. And given the fact that we are going to need to, as I've said many times before, be very self-sufficient in order to survive this playthrough, being able to store energy for use in times of emergencies sounds like a good thing to have in your pocket. Okay, enter the new system, so it's time to get our scan on. Got some deuterium, some uranium, and some science points, but it is this Class D planet down here that is of most interest to me. Not just because it's going to give us science points, but because it actually has a title of Emanations. Emanations was a title of one of the episodes from Season 1. And it says here, while scanning the ring system of a Class D planet, Voyager detects traces of the 247th element, a major breakthrough for the Federation. Analysing these samples could provide valuable scientific insights. And in that episode, Harry Kim went on a little bit of an adventure where he wound up dead, at least temporarily. Game here is giving us 3 options. We can dispatch a team to investigate. We can decide that the risk is too high to send a team down and we'll simply beam aboard a sample for analysis, or we can abandon the whole mission. Now, given the fact that dispatch team to investigate has a small amount of risk and there's no risk attached with the beaming, we are in fact going to dispatch a team because, well, that's what they did in the series, and that also gives us an additional option. And doing so has actually revealed that we've discovered numerous bodies in varying stages of decomposition. Each was covered in the fibrous membrane-like substance, creating quite a disturbing scene. And here indeed is this extra option. We can scan the remains for residual energy or anomalies for a maximum of 80 science points, or we can in fact leave the remains untouched and just observe from afar because it does actually appear to be a burial ground. Middle option there, to just examine the bodies for clues, is not available to us because we currently have our sick bay powered down. Now, obviously the most respectful thing would be that second option, but the first option, if we can pass the skill check, would in fact give us an extra thing that we can research in our science laboratory. So despite the moral complications of doing it, we are in fact going to scan the remains. And we get our maximum rewards as scans show that the fibrous membrane is indeed the newly discovered 247th element, and that it could serve as a plating service. Body seems to be from another dimension. A note hints that the asteroid is viewed as a passage to the afterlife. So we may have got 80 science points and unlocked ultra thin reactor plating in the engineering tech tree, but we may have just desecrated a burial site doing it. So whilst we have a little think about what it is that we've just done, let's go and grab some adrenium and the science points, selecting the safest option in both instances. And then it was at this point I realised that we were in fact losing morale every cycle, because we currently have 14 crew members without accommodation. So let's quickly jump into the ship. Let's take offline our remaining cargo bay so we can free up enough power to bring on some emergency quarters without needing to get out of grey mode. And a quick sweep of the ship shows there's nothing more we can do. We don't have any more rooms that we can clear out, and our battery compartment research still has one cycle remaining. So let's use that cycle to travel to our destination. I actually cut out the previous trip to get us to the asteroid. And our small battery compartment research is now done. So let's quickly dive into our science laboratory to select our next one. We are going to go with Inspired Workforce, which high morale threshold. Bonuses are increased by 20%, which is a great way of making up lost morale when you didn't realize you were losing any. But now it's time to check in with the bridge crew as they start processing the ramifications of their new circumstances as a result of our decision to destroy the array and leave them stranded 70,000 light years from home. "70,000 light years from home. It seems we're in this together, Commander." Your decision didn't win you any friends, Kazon, Marquis, and Starfleet, but I respect you for it. Their anger is justified, but we have more pressing concerns. 2 crews on one ship, stranded in the Delta Quadrant, fighting for survival. I know a thing or two about survival. The Marquis are a motley crew. We had to learn to put our differences aside and work together to coexist. Coexist, hmm? Well, Commander, I'd like to offer you the position of Voyager's First Officer. First Officer? You're willing to trust the Marquis with that responsibility? I'm learning to adapt. This is a new beginning, a chance to forge a new path, together. And with that, Chakotay has joined our crew along with 27 other members of the Marquis. That's certainly going to help us keep rooms and systems going, providing I remember to make them quarters. Alright, Neelix and Kess. Neelix, Kess, you wanted to see me? Do you need anything else before you leave? Supplies, water, medicine? Well, that's what we wanted to discuss. We'd like to go with you. Before you say anything, Captain, we both very much want to be a part of your journey. I can offer you so much in this sector, Captain. Need a guide, supplies, contacts, and a cook? Oh, you haven't lived until you've tasted my Unglabosk. But more than that, Captain, I can be your morale officer. Keep those smiles bright on this long voyage home. I have a feeling you'll need that. A guide, a cook, and a morale officer. That's quite an offer, Mr. Neelix. And Kess, what about you? What do you hope to gain from this journey? I want to see the galaxy. There's so much out there I don't know, so much to explore and discover. Perhaps this journey can help me understand my own telepathic abilities better. Learn more. Develop them. But I also want to help. After the doctor cured my wounds, I realized I want to help people too. Maybe I could learn from him, assist in sickbay. I think the doctor would be glad to have you. Very well then. Welcome aboard. Captain,
you might want to see this. Looks like we've stirred up a little trouble. In a good way, I think. A sudden distress call reveals Voyager's victory over Jabin sparked a mass escape from the Kazon slave camp. Janeway wastes no time ordering the desperate survivors to be beamed aboard. Neelix is surprised to find another Talaxian, Jiban, who was captured while exploring the Okampa landscape, gratefully joins the growing crowd of survivors seeking the Doctor's care. And as we can see, we now have an extra 21 crew aboard Voyager, so we're going to have to find somewhere to put them. So I guess our immediate task is set for us. Alright everybody, listen up.
Now we have a chance to get Captain Janeway to give a rousing speech to her crew. We're going to have 3 dialogue prompts, each with 3 choices, and for each of the prompts we are going to go with the option that I think emphasizes what this journey is about. Working together as one crew, being explorers in the Starfleet tradition, but never forgetting the primary mission, which is to get home.
We're alone, in an uncharted part of the galaxy, facing unknown dangers. We must work together to survive. Commander Chakotay and I have agreed to unite our crews as one Starfleet crew. As the only Starfleet vessel in the Delta Quadrant, we'll continue to explore, but our primary goal is to find a way back to the Federation. 75 years is unacceptable. We'll search for shortcuts and new technologies to get us home faster. Somewhere along this journey, we'll find a way back.
Well spoken, Captain.
Mr. Paris, you've proven yourself a skilled pilot and a valuable member of this crew. I hereby appoint you as our flight control officer.
For the first time in my life, I don't know what to say.
Perhaps a state you would like to embrace more frequently from now on, Lieutenant Paris.
Lieutenant Paris? Has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Hey Harry, bet your own promotion is just around the corner. Oh boy, imagine me becoming captain one day. Very well, gentlemen. As your first official act in your new position, Lieutenant Paris, set a new course. We're flying home.
And there we go. As it says, Caretaker completed, the Voyager starts the journey home. Thank you very much everybody for watching. We will be starting Sector 2 in our next episode, but I will be honest, I'm not 100% certain when that will be yet. I will be going into more detail in a video log that I will be releasing fairly shortly, but I am in fact moving house in the next week or 2, so I need to get all that sorted and hand the place that I'm renting back over. So there may be a delay, but Sector 2 and indeed all of this game will be coming soon. You guys take care. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey. Hope you will join me for the next stage. Bye bye.